Number 13A, Mr. Koech wishes to fence off his rectangular plot whose area is 1,200 square meters. One of the sides is already catered for by a wall, and he has a fencing wire of 100 meters long. Form a quadratic equation and solve it to find two possible dimensions of the plot. So in this question, we need to understand the sketch and exactly what is happening before we solve. So Mr. Koech wishes to form his rectangular plot. So you need to have a picture of a rectangular plot in your mind. Then we are told that the area of a the rectangular plot is 1,200 square meters. And as we all know, that area of a rectangle is found by taking length times the width. And we are also told one of the sides is already catered for, even though he wants to fence it using 100 meters long. So we do not know whether it is the width that is catered for or it is the length. So our work is just to pick out at random that one side has been fenced by a wall. Then in our calculation, we'll be able to tell which one is longer and which one is shorter. So we'll have the dimensions of the length and the width. So this 100 meters is now supposed to fence the three sides. Given that two of the sides are equal, that is this and this one according to a diagram, we can let this side to be x. If this side is x, being equal to this other one, this side will also be x. So putting together, we have 2x. So a length of 100 meters, when you subtract this 2x, then the remaining side will therefore be 100 minus 2x. So looking at the question, we have been told that the area is 1,200 meters and the area is gotten by length times width. So that means if we take the length times the width, it should be equivalent to 1,200 square meters. But our length is 100 minus 2x and our width is x. That should be able to give us 1,200. So what we are supposed to do for this case is just to open the brackets. X times 100 is 100x. Then x times 2 is minus 2x squared, which is equals to 1,200. So we can rearrange these values and obtain a quadratic equation. For my case, I will take all these values to the right. When 2x crosses, it will be positive because it's negative, so I'll have 2x squared. Negative 100, once it crosses, it will be minus 100x. Then this is positive because all these ones have gone there, it will remain to be positive 1,200. All of them now being on one side, on the other side we'll have 0. So we come up with a quadratic equation, and as you can see, it can still be simplified by dividing through by 2. So divide here by 2, by 2, and by 2, and by 2. So 2 will go here once, so we'll have x squared. 100 divided by 2 is 50x. Then 1,200 divided by 2 is plus 600, which will be equals to 0. So you can now solve by a method that you find appropriate or easier for you. Some would use completing square, some would use quadratic formula. So for our case, we'll use quadratic formula, whereby if you want to find x, we'll take negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So for our case, our a is the coefficient of x squared is 1. Our b is the coefficient of x, here is negative 50. Then our c is the constant, which is 600. So we substitute in this particular formula. So we will have x is equals to negative b, which is negative of negative 50. Negative, then you have this negative, so negative of negative 50. Then plus or minus the square root of b squared, that is negative 50 squared, then minus 4 times a, which is 1, then times c, which is 600. Then all over 2a, and remember our a is 1. So when you open the bracket and simplify, when you find the values under the root, we'll have negative of negative, here is positive 50, plus or minus. Under the root, we have 50 squared is 2,500. Because it's negative, it will be positive. Then 600 times 1 times 4 is minus 2,400 all over 2. Then 2,500 minus 2,400 is giving us 100. So we'll have 50 plus or minus the square root of 100 all over 2. Then the square root of 100 is 10, so we have 50 plus or minus 10 all over 2. So what you do, we have two answers here. One of the answers you use a positive value, so we'll say x is equals to 50 plus 10 all over 2. 50 plus 10 is 60, divided by 2 is 30. Remember, dimensions were in meters, so this one would be meters. Secondly, x is equals to 50 minus 10 all over 2. 50 minus 10 is 40, divided by 2 is 50. So we'll have dimensions in two ways. First, when we use 30, remember if x is 30, x is 30, x is 30. Write it down here. If x is 30 meters, then the other value would be 100 minus 2 times x. The other one would be 100 minus 2 times x, which is 30. 2 times x is 60. 2 times 30 rather is 60. So 100 minus 60 is 40. So the dimensions here will have 30 meters by 40 meters. So that's one of the dimensions we'll have. Then secondly is when we use x to be 20. X is equals to 20 meters. So the other one will be 100 minus 2 into 20. That will be 100 minus 20 times 2, that is 40. So yes, x is 2, yes. So what do we get there? We get 60. So when you subtract, you'll be able to get 60 meters. So our dimensions will be 20 meters by 60 meters. Then we will say we are done, because the question did ask us to look for, form the quadratic equation and solve it to find two possible dimensions. So these are the two possible dimensions, 20 by 60 and 30 by 40.